4 Divisions of the World, The Legend of the Rise of the Commoner Lords. Underscore 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 un. 1 World Background. In the super large online game called The Hegemony of the World, the ancient and modern integrate the theme of the 3 kingdoms. The actual history of the 3 kingdoms in the game has been rewritten. The world was originally the territory of the Han Dynasty, and now it is divided into 3 points: Wei, Shu, and Wu. Underscore 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 un. 2 Roles and Forces. Protagonist, Su Xianfeng, Chinese player, is a civilian, and uses rural training value as a stunt, making good use of system management and territory management. He has a super soldier farmer ability and combat talent, and his reputation has steadily risen. Red Lotus, a Wu player, is good at diplomacy and strategy, has an alliance intelligence bonus, and builds alliances with the protagonist in the game to help each other develop. Bai Yun, a Shu player, is resolute and calm, with the skill of mountain and river defense, specializing in city defense and terrain strategy, and assists the protagonist in defending his territory. Ku Xian, Wei player, NPC, is the first overlord power lord in the game, who is good at territorial plundering and field warfare, forming the biggest challenge to the protagonist. Underscore 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 un. 3 Chapter and Content Outline. Chapter 1 Shiritekike, the first rural territory. As a novice player, Su Xianfeng was randomly assigned to Xianfeng Town, a barren village. With his rural cultivation value and hard work, he took the lead in bringing grain production to the top 5% of the system. Because of his high production capacity, he was recommended by the system to be summoned to the novice martial arts arena to obtain a rare piece of equipment plowing the blade, which can lure enemies and disrupt formations during battle. Chapter 2 Territorial Construction, Village Uprising. At the invitation of Red Lotus, Su Xianfeng joined the Han River Alliance. He upgraded farmland, fortified the city, recruited soldiers, and also tried the civil rebellion event, guiding the surrounding NPC farmers to spontaneously enlist in the army to form the first Xianfeng militia regiment. After the demonstration of the city defense battle, he successfully fended off the first wave of wild wolves and beasts, attracting the attention of nearby players. Chapter 3 Management and Military Food, Integration of Soldiers and Farmers. After the territory was upgraded, Su Xianfeng proposed the integration of soldiers and farmers, reduce the army to go to the front line during the busy agricultural season, use idle time to develop agricultural technology to improve grain production, and then concentrate on fighting in the off-season. He teamed up with Bai Yun to build fortifications, and the 2 of them defended multiple Wei NPC attacks in a row, becoming the god-dreaded folk gang in the player's circle. Chapter 4, The First Field Battle, Fighting the Dry Spirit. The elite team of Wei led by Ku Xian was pushed by the system to trigger the event and came to plunder Su Xianfeng's satellite stronghold. Su Xianfeng summoned the Xianfeng Militia Regiment, the warriors of the Han River Alliance and the Red Lotus to coordinate the cavalry, set up an ambush with a fake retreat and feint attack, and lured Qiuquan into a trap. In the fierce battle, Su used the plowing blade spirit plow to block the enemy's shield array, and Red Lotus planned a surprise attack by camouflage troops and successfully defeated Ku Xian's main general. Chapter 5 City Battle/Strategy, Fierce Battle Jiangnan. Su Xianfeng decided to switch from defense to attack, and the alliance formed a coalition of 100,000 to besiege the border towns of Wei. After managing the agricultural and grain chains, coordinating with the troops, and using the weather system to limit the enemy's bow and crossbow firepower in rainy weather, the coalition finally captured the town and started the first large-scale PvP battle, shocking the 3 players. Chapter 6, Undercurrent of Intrigue, The Lords. Wu and Chu formed an alliance with Su Xianfeng, but Ku Xian had withdrawn to Wei. The monarch of Wei, Wei Wuji, held a meeting of the whole country and asked the princes to be crowned kings. Su Xianfeng was invited to be the Marquis of Xianfeng. Wei Wuji secretly plotted to escape the balance of power among the 3 kingdoms, intending to obtain Su Xianfeng's grain and grass export technology. Su Xianfeng knew that something was wrong, so he used the alliance to extend diplomacy and create a secret situation, using Wei as a false alliance, which was actually a delaying tactic. Chapter 7, The 4 Division World, Realization is Coming. Through a series of alliance wars and economic financing, Wu, Shu, and Wei agreed to the 4-point system under heaven advocated by Su Xianfeng. Each ruled its territory, protected each other's territory, and avoided a conspiracy to unify itself. The announcement in the game system has entered the 4-point stage, which will depend on the player's choice until the end of the game. The protagonist successfully elevates the small village of Xianfeng Town from a first-class town to a four-way leader-level power, ranking among the best. Chapter 8, The Battle Against the Tide, the Covenant breaks and a conspiracy emerges. Since the world entered the four-point pattern, the map boundary of Xuanfeng's territory began to gradually open, and so Xuanfeng's forces were officially included in one of the official camps, called the Hidden Marquee Domain. But this seemingly stable balance lasted less than 30 game days. On this day, Red Lotus reported urgently. Wei Wuji suddenly invaded the south, and without officially declaring war, he directly raided the three border cities on the front line of the Wu state. Su Xianfeng frowned. Originally, he predicted that the Wei state would shrink its military strength due to corruption in internal affairs, but he did not expect that Wei Wuji would unite with a mysterious foreign aid, the northern game gangster player group Tiangang Blood Alliance, to launch a blitzkrieg, and the tactics were extremely fierce. Where's the White Clouds? Is there any movement in Shidi? He asked. The White Clouds are standing still, but his garrison has begun to withdraw from Qingsong Pass, and it seems that he is also preparing for contingencies. Red Lotus's face was solemn. Xianfeng, we have to make our own decisions. It's not just a simple war in the game, it's more like a brutal game. The four parts of the world are actually the temptations of the four directions. Now that Wei has taken the initiative to break the tacit understanding, the world will be divided again or will be reorganized. Su Xianfeng immediately made a decision and ordered. The whole territory has entered a state of readiness, mobilized all the grain and grass, and the conscription order has been sent to the 7th village. Sending troops? We had just established the post-war order. Hong Lian looked at him with a complicated look in his eyes. If we don't send troops, they'll come to our door. Su Xianfeng was not impulsive. He was not keen on war, but he was very good at it. His silence has always been accumulating the strength to break the enemy. This time, he chose to strike first. Underscore 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 un. 3 days later, the Battle of the Reverse Water broke out. The Reverse River is the main road at the junction of Xianfeng and Wei, and Su Xianfeng personally led 30,000 soldiers and horses along the river, taking the lead. He sent Honglian's light cavalry to quickly attack the supply camp behind the enemy from the east bank, and then ordered Baiyun to send archers to raid the Wei army's baggage line. The war began too quickly, and although the Wei army numbered as 50,000, the command was overconfident and was forced to divide the troops into 2 lines. Su Xianfeng used his unique soldier-peasant alternate system. What he brought was not a pure army, but a combat group that integrated military and agriculture, which could build and supply while fighting. The rice is sprinkled and the fields are made for 3 days. I produce my own grain and grass. He said coldly, shocking the enemy. The commander of the Wei army is one of the 10 ghosts of the Blood Alliance, and the player known as the Swan Yao Spear King, Yao Tianxian. He held a black gold spear in his hand, and once defeated 10,000 soldiers and horses of Shu by himself, and was a general that Wei Wuji relied on. But he didn't expect that Su Xianfeng's grain and grass system, which was like an economic simulator, would put the enemy army in a dilemma of supply breakage. How so? Aren't his soldiers the weakest of the peasants? Why can't you finish fighting wave after wave? Yao Tianxian gritted his teeth, but had to order a retreat. At this time, Red Lotus had already cut off the retreat route and burned the dock behind the enemy. Baiyun's Shu Bao also shot fierce arrows from the mountains and forests, burning the entire shore into a sea of fire. On both sides of the river, the fire is shining in the sky. Su Xianfeng stood on the high slope with a gun, the wind hunting, and the cloak fluttering. He watched the enemy flee with cold eyes, and a system prompt came from behind him. Congratulations on defeating the main force of the Wei army and winning the battle against the water. Territory reputation +3, military level upgraded to general. Your personal combat exploits have reached the earthquake the world level, and you have entered the top 3 of the server's combat merits list. You have obtained an exclusive mount, Kanglin Beast. Red Lotus jumped forward immediately, and said with a smile in her tone, "You don't talk again, aren't you happy?" Su Xianfeng said lightly, "War is not worth being happy about, it just has to be won." Hong Lian looked at him, and her eyes became gentle. She knows that this calm man on the surface hides unknown blood and responsibility deep in his heart. He guards the tens of millions of people of Xianfeng, he protects allies and integrity, and what he fights is the undecided situation in this world. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 9, The Quartet Reconsiders, the beginning of the war of fiction and reality. After the victory in the Battle of the Reverse Water, the reputation of the Xianfeng forces shook the whole server. Su Xianfeng's name has been hotly discussed by many game forums, military simulation players, and virtual strategy analysts for several days. Some people praised him as a military wizard, some people called him a military soul silent, and more people began to speculate, how can a civilian player who does not pay money step by step to reach the top? But Su Xianfeng knew that the essence of this game was quietly changing. In the early morning of that day, the system announcement appeared like a divine revelation. World change. Void and reality rift opened, the Valley of Rifts in the north will be activated within 48 hours. Entry requirements, the top 2 individual combat players in the Four Kingdoms faction, and hold the Elder Shard. This dungeon is a limited time high-risk event, and real identity synchronization will be opened. If you choose to log into this dungeon, the game behavior will affect the evaluation of real accounts and the external credit system. Su Xianfeng stared at the screen, his eyebrows furrowed slightly. He had heard of the legend of the Rift, which was a mysterious hidden plot that had been foretold before the launch of the server but had not been solved for many years. True sync copy. It's not just a game. Red Lotus was silent for a long time on the other end of the communication channel, and said, I investigated. In recent months, 4 of the top high-end players have been permanently banned after logging into the dungeon, claiming blocked by non-system forces in the dungeon. Non-systematic. In other words, there's something in the rift that's out of official control. Su Xianfeng closed his eyes, and there was a faint pain in his heart. He remembers that his original intention was just to build a territory, operate steadily, and open up territory with a few like-minded players. But now, this war no longer seems to be just a virtual strategy. Underscore 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 un. 2 days later, the 4-party alliance took place as scheduled. This place is selected in the Woyang Battle Banner Tower, a historical stronghold of the game, and only players who have achieved the title of Marquis can enter. Traveling with Su Xianfeng, there are also Red Lotus and White Clouds. The representative of Wuguo is a Confucian general brocade military division, who is good at literary strategy, and has a gentle demeanor. The Shu Kingdom sent the cold-faced fierce general Ridge Soul Knight Axe, who didn't say much, but held a strange weapon with a sword in the axe, and was full of murderous aura. And the representative of Wei is not Wei Wuji, but Yao Tianxian, with the evil aura after the obvious defeat, his eyes are fixed on Su Xianfeng. This is not peace, this is the division of the world. The Soul Knight Axe said in a cold voice, the Wei state has broken the contract, and the war has started again, so you should ask for the crime when you sacrifice the flag. Yao Tianxian didn't laugh angrily, and said, really? Do you really think that Su Xianfeng is the god of war and undefeated? You have no idea what's behind him. That's enough. Su Xianfeng interrupted in a cold voice, what you want to say is just, you have discovered that the Elder Realm has been activated, and we are the door that you can't pass through. Yao Tianxuan's tone was solemn, the rift is not an opportunity, it is a judgment. When you enter there, even your real memories and physical reactions will be read. I'd like to see if your civilian legend shell can withstand that kind of exposed. The Red Lotus immediately took out a golden crystal, the light flashed slightly, and it was one of the elders. We've got 2 pieces together, what about you? Yao Tianxian didn't speak, just tilted his head to the side. The Soul Knight Axe also nodded slowly, Shu has collected all 3 pieces, we are ready. Su Xianfeng looked at Honglian and Baiun and spoke slowly. It's not a competition inside the virtual world. If the things in the rift can really reflect the real personality, behavior evaluation and even synchronize the real memory, then, what we call strategy and victory and defeat will be redefined. But I'm not afraid. He looked at the void crack in the distance, and his voice was like iron. I lead the army as I lead the righteous people, and I defend the land as I protect the homeland. If the world really wants to judge me, let it come and see if I deserve this place. This sentence shocked the audience, and the forum was swiped almost at the same time. Su Xianfeng will lead the army of Xianfeng to enter the void and reality rift. System prompt, the rift dungeon will be opened in 12 hours, and the list of participants is locked. An invitation letter slowly emerged from the system interface, and a blood-red mark came into view. Elder Main Quest, the judgment of the Luoyan sovereign. Red Lotus said in a low voice, Luoyan. How familiar is this name? Su Xianfeng was shocked. He remembers. It was 3 years before the launch of the server, and the mysterious player who appeared in the first test server once destroyed the largest NPC force on the server with the power of 1 person, and then disappeared mysteriously. He is rumored to be a forerunner, an experimenter who has signed a deal with the development team to test real personality data. Now, he seems to be back. With judgment and also with real, the ultimate puzzle of the game.